Hello everybody, Dave Johnson from the Media Relations Office here at UWL, previewing the WIAC Indoor Track and Field Championships, which are scheduled for this Friday and Saturday, February 24th and 25th at UW-Stout. Action starts on Friday at 11:30 in the morning, Saturday at 9 a.m. UWL men are looking for their 16th straight WIAC title this year. They've won 41 league crowns in school history. Here was head coach Josh Buchholtz in his 9th year. Welcome, Josh.
Thanks, Dave.
Let's talk about the meet. Let's talk about the recap of the season first. You finished second at the Badger the Badger Open last week. Had a great finishes there. Just talk about overall your team, how they performed on the track in the field events going into this meet.
Well, it's been a very good season, kind of the way we expect things to roll. Where early season, you kind of work through the early meets, and then as the season progresses, we look for bigger performances. Unfortunately, we haven't had very many scored meets, which we do like to get in occasionally. But for the success we've had this year is about where we need to be. I think we have some things like this weekend will really open the door and really see some of our national performances start hitting the marks and maybe put some more on the list for the national championships.
And the keys for your team going into the championships to win this title, what are those keys?
The biggest thing that we bring to the WIAC Championships is a full team. Going over the numbers, going into the meet, we are slated to score in every event. We're slated to score in double digits in more than half of the events. So if we can follow that and make improvements in the areas that maybe we're a little bit down in points and sneak some points here and there, it should be a very solid meet for us.
And you moved up to second this week in the computer rankings from the national organization, but several WIAC schools are right there in the rankings as well. Talk about just the overall conference championships this weekend.
Our conference championships will have 5 of the top 10 ranked teams in the nation, 7 of the top 20 teams in the nation. So basically all of our teams in the conference are ranked in the top 20. That makes for a pretty good meet, good competition. Year in, year out, this meet produces a lot of national championship marks, and it's great competition in the new format where pretty much everything's a final. There's very few prelims outside of the 60 dash and the 60 hurdles. It really leads itself to have a championship environment to put big marks up.
And talk about how your team, how the coaching staff lays out the season with indoor meets. You started in January with the alumni meet. You've had meets throughout, like you said, a lot of non-score meets. But just lay out how you kind of go into this meet in terms of how you taper them, how you've gone through the season.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I think a lot of people think that track and field, they just run around, maybe do some jumping, warm up, and then sit around and talk a little bit. But the biggest thing that I think people don't realize is the amount of time that they're putting in. It's more of we don't have X's and O's as far as game plans. But what we do have is the program that we do in our athletic training room, in our sport performance center, that we commit with the guys have to do a lot of things on their own or as a group away from the track, and then the workouts on its own. So really setting things up. It's a science, and working with our coaches and working with some other folks collaborating with our sport performance and our athletic trainers to make sure the guys are prepared to compete when it counts. And for us, that's the conference championships and the national championships. So about a 3-week period, we're trying to put all of our eggs in a basket to make sure the guys are prepared to compete at the highest level during those 3 weeks.
And you have several individuals ranked right now in the top 10, top 20, in fact, on the 9 National Honor Roll. We kind of want to highlight Ross Detman. Ross was the 2015 Indoor Track and Field Performer of the Meet. He's won 3 straight 400. Just talk about Ross and the rest of the team, where you sit in terms of the national rankings.
Sure. In consideration of the conference being Ross having a chance to be his fourth straight indoor 400-meter champion, that's going to be critical for us. I mean, we're hoping for him to not only win the conference title, but also put up a meet mark, so that way it'll improve his mark going to the national championships. Right now, he's outside the top 10 in the national meet, but we're hoping that after this weekend, that's going to change. And as far as the rest of the team goes, we're looking for guys just to kind of step it up and really do it. We put a lot of emphasis on this is our start. This is our championship run. We're looking for guys that are freshmen to pick up and not be freshmen anymore and really come to the meet. And this is a meet where a lot of times that happens, where also they find that confidence, they find that excitement, that enthusiasm, that intrinsic and extrinsic motivation to really step it up and make the performances at the highest level at this meet and help their team out and also help themselves out to a better mark. Across the board, we're looking for a lot of good performances from the guys that are supposed to be there and score points. But I think the real key to it is going to be the guys that are maybe just just out of scoring, the guys that are sitting number 9, 10, 11, 12. Those are the guys that can really make or break a championship meet. We expect the guys that are in the top 8 to do what they need to do. It's those extra points that we get from guys that aren't quite in that position that really help us.
And talking about after this conference championships this weekend, it's 2 weeks until nationals. Nationals are March 10th and 11th down in Naperville, Illinois, North Central College. Just talk about what your plan will be after conference leading into nationals in 2 weeks.
The conference meet will dictate kind of how we approach the next week, our last chance meet week. The hopes is we get a lot of our stuff done this week, and that allows us to make the decision of resting people going to the national championships, or if we need to make that push for maybe an extra mark, or maybe try to get a little bit better time or a better seat mark going to the national championships. That's where that last chance we will do. Ideally, we'd like to just be able to have that decision making. It's either kind of a flip of the coin, do we really have to do this or not? But for the most part, if we can get our job done at the conference championships, it makes the last chance meet weekend, that last meet weekend before the national championships, that much easier.
Again, the WIAC Indoor Championships are this Friday and Saturday up at UW-Stout. Again, action starts on Friday morning at 11:30, Saturday at 9 o'clock. You can follow along on UWLathletics.com and on Twitter. You can also follow on WIACsports.com. There's also a link there for live stats. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Dave.